Good afternoon. Welcome to Midday Prayer. I'm going to start in a minute. I'm just going to check to make sure that everything's looking good over on Facebook, and then we'll begin. Okay. Um, we're going to do, I like doing this book, so I'm going to keep doing this. It's called Liturgies for Resisting Empire by Kat Armas, and it has, the reason why I like it so much is because uh, this book, sorry, it has like it infuses both stories of different people and prayers and reflections that I think are worth like really diving into. And I just really appreciate this call to not just resistance but embrace. And I think that is something that um we might want to consider is that there's more to movement than resisting something. There's also, it's kind of like while you are pushing back, what can you bring in? This give and take thing. So I really like the premise of this. Anyway, I am going to go ahead and do this for our time together. Sorry, but I'll put it up real quick so you can know what I'm reading. Again, it's the book. And today's chapter is Rejecting Violence, Embracing Peace. I also love that there are stories from all cultural, ethnic, and racial lines. So there's a lot of different stories that come from different peoples, and I love that. All right, the invocation says, God of the cosmos, you who dwell in the vastness and the dust, remind us of our place in a world marked by systems of violence. Uncover in us the roles we play and open our hearts to the work of unmaking that what harms. We are here to listen, to learn, and to act with compassion and love. Here's a reflection. The people of Japan tell a story about an old man and a samurai. In a small village nestled between the mountains, there lived an old farmer named Hiroshi. His community had long been plagued by conflict, feuding with nearby villages over land and resources. One day, a powerful samurai rode into the village. He offered to teach the people the art of war so they could protect themselves from future threats. Many villagers were eager, believing violence would bring peace. But Hiroshi stepped forward. Samurai, he said, I asked for a day to show you a different way. Curious, the samurai agreed. The next morning, Hiroshi invited him to walk through the rice fields. Together, they saw the stalks bending under the wind's force, but never breaking. See how the rice endures by yielding, Hiroshi said. It survives not by fighting the storm, but by moving with it. At noon, Hiroshi served tea in silence. The samurai watched as Hiroshi poured the tea slowly, never rushing, allowing time for reflection. True strength lies in stillness and peace, Hiroshi whispered. The samurai, moved by the simplicity and wisdom of Hiroshi's ways, abandoned his plans of war, realizing that peace, like the rice stalk, bends but never breaks. Those who have ears, let them hear. Mm. I find this interesting. She, in her reflection, speaks of Ephesians 6, like the put on the armor of God. And she writes, the call to put on the armor of God comes from Ephesians 6. The passage reminds us that our struggle isn't against flesh and blood, but against powers and forces in the unseen realms. What I didn't realize as a child is that the armor was modeled after the gear of Roman soldiers. Rome's armies draped in this armor enforced the Pax Romana, Roman peace, a peace born not of harmony or equality, but through forced submission. Historians have called the Pax Romana a golden age, a time when Rome supposedly flourished. Not only was there peace in the empire, but also prosperity and security. It was a time of victory, personified by goddess Victoria, and it came through swords and conquest. Levi, a Roman historian, admitted that for the Romans, war and peace were just two sides of the same coin. Cicero, too, once wrote, "The only reason for waging war is so that we Romans may live in peace." But what is peace if it must be stolen? If it is taken by force, leaving a trail of bodies in its wake? For Rome, peace was never about justice, only the quiet that comes when the oppressed have been silenced. Empires throughout history, whether Roman, British, or American, have sold us the same idea that peace is worth any sacrifice, even war, that we can live freely only if someone else is conquered. It's no wonder that Rome's vision of peace infiltrated the language of faith. And yet, central to the Christian story is another vision of peace, one that is unsettling because it doesn't demand violence to secure it. It's a peace that doesn't need an empire to hold it up. How do we reconcile these two visions? Wearing the armor of Rome while professing faith not in an empire of violence, but in a prince of peace? It's a very good question. She goes there, and I love that. There's a lot to this. um, I do highly recommend this book if you are looking for more literature or things to connect with, to find voice in story that allows for us to consider the ways in which we live out our faith. Okay. I'm going to end us with this prayer. So here's the prayer. Prince of Peace, we confess the ways we have turned away from peace, the times we've chosen silence when justice called. Forgive us, O beloved, for forgetting our belonging, for thinking we are not enough, for thinking we are alone. Grant us the courage to embrace one another, to walk toward the peace that makes space for all. Let our hearts beat with the rhythm of unity, for in your peace we find our true home. We reject the violence of empire and embrace the peace of Christ. And here's the benediction. May we be filled with the strength that rises not from the clash of arms, but from quiet courage. Let us hold the weight of love like an offering, knowing that true power lies in the gentle persistence to heal, to soften, to mend what has been broken. In the tender pursuit of peace, we find the resilience to endure, to breathe, and to be. Amen. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. As always, if you have a prayer request, please send them in. And if you have questions or you want to comment, always welcome. Discussion is always welcome in this place. All right. Peace and blessings. Bye, y'all.